Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something really cool. We're decoding the exact science, the AI tools, and the algorithmic strategies behind highly successful vertical storytelling. We are literally dissecting the anatomy of a viral short, taking you all the way from the cognitive functions of the human brain right down to the specific AI workflows and upload hacks that top creators are using right this second.
So, why does some simple stories just explode online while these massive high-budget clips totally flop? A perfect example of this is that AI-generated Honest Woodcutter short you've probably seen floating around YouTube lately. It's this super simple, classic narrative with these cute 3D visuals, right? A woodcutter loses his iron axe in a river, a goddess offers him a silver and a gold one, he honestly declines them, and boom, he gets rewarded. It's a tale as old as time. But today it's being distributed in a completely unprecedented environment, the algorithmic vertical feed.
And that simple 3D animation actually solves a massive modern storytelling challenge. Get this, a staggering 74% of social media videos are watched completely on mute. Think about that for a second. If your storytelling relies entirely on dialogue or some booming voiceover to make sense, you're instantly losing nearly 3/4 of your potential audience. So the absence of a verbal track, it isn't just a limitation anymore. It's a structural challenge that forces us to communicate visually.
So here's our roadmap to building a playbook for that visual communication. We'll cover 1, the science of attention, 2, AI storytelling workflows, 3, visual and emotional framing, 4, designing the soundscape, and 5, hacking the algorithm.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the science of attention.
Before we even touch a single AI tool, we have to understand how the brain actually processes short-form video in a fast-scrolling environment. The crucial concept here is something called embodied simulation. Basically, seeing a character's kinetic movement triggers your mirror neurons so intensely that you physically feel the action. So when you watch that 3D woodcutter heave his axe into the river, your brain's motor system subtly fires as if you were swinging it yourself. You aren't just watching a story. On a neurological level, you are literally participating in it. And you can actually see this happening. Notice the shaded areas on this brain scan, specifically the ventral premotor cortex. These areas activate instantly. And that proves this empathic resonance happens within the very first second of watching a video. The faster a viewer recognizes a familiar motor program on screen, the higher the probability they're going to stick around and watch the whole thing.
Now, to trigger that brain activity, platform guidelines heavily emphasize a 3 to 6 second compositional hook, and you want to place this in the upper third of the screen to literally intercept the user's swiping finger. Think about it, because smartphones are held vertically, placing a dynamic object right up there in that upper third visually blocks the physical motor intention of scrolling. That falling axe in the woodcutter video, it perfectly executes this micro conflict that completely halts the swipe.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, AI storytelling workflows.
With the science validated, how do creators actually produce these fables so fast using free AI tools? Well, the optimal workflow starts with manual writing to avoid generic outputs. The biggest mistake creators make is letting AI write the story from scratch. It always ends up feeling really robotic. You gotta manually craft the narrative first. Then, you use ChatGPT as your sort of digital cinematographer to break your story down into distinct visual prompts. Next, you generate base images in Google Image FX to lock in that consistent, cute 3D style. And finally, you feed those static images into a motion generator like Kling or Minimax to bring them to life. But listen, manual adjustments are still absolutely essential, because AI isn't perfect. Sometimes it decides to make your Honest Woodcutter completely defy the laws of gravity, and you'll definitely need software like Wondershare Filmora or Premiere Pro for manual fixes. You might prompt the AI to have the woodcutter leaping for his axe, and instead it renders him awkwardly floating sideways in midair. These tools are incredibly powerful, but they for sure require a human editor to stitch the narrative together chronologically and, trim out those weird, hilarious anomalies.
Let's shift gears to Section 3, visual and emotional framing.
So how do we arrange these clips to communicate powerful emotions without uttering a single word? Well, if you look at the editing theory behind these viral shorts, it all comes down to rhythmic editing rather than rigid metric editing. Rhythmic editing smartly adapts to the internal movement of the characters to reduce cognitive viewer fatigue. If you just cut every 2 seconds like a ticking metronome, the viewer gets completely exhausted. But if you cut on the action, like right when the axe hits the water, or exactly when the goddess raises her hand, you create this natural kinetic pulse that holds the viewer's attention without them even realizing why.
Now combine that rhythmic editing with a really fast 2.5-second optimal average shot length, some star color shifts and geometric camera movements like parallax tracking, and you can effectively condense an entire 3-act play into just 60 seconds. Studies actually show that a sudden shift from a warm orange village scene to a cool blue tense river scene instantly signals a narrative turn to the brain. Add a frontal zoom pushing in on the golden axe, and you've created a spatial attraction that completely immerses the viewer.
Moving to Section 4, Designing the Soundscape. Even with 74% of people watching on mute, for the 26% who do listen, sound is the emotional glue of the entire project. You want to source royalty-free, voice-safe, no vocal music. Think like an epic rising track from Melody Loops for the climax when the goddess appears. Then you ground the scene in reality with highly specific sound effects from places like Orange Free Sounds. Layer in a continuous bubbling stream, some splashing water, maybe magical chimes. It makes those AI-generated visuals feel incredibly tangible and real.
But when you're mixing these elements, there is a crucial trick you need to use called audio ducking. Always keep your background music 10 to 15 decibels below the voiceover to preserve absolute narrative clarity. If your music overpowers the narrator, the viewer gets frustrated and just swipes away. The music should swell during transitions and then dip down softly whenever a character or narrator is speaking.
Finally, Section 5, Hacking the Algorithm.
You've made a great explainer, but if you don't package it correctly, no one will see it. So your ultimate upload checklist should involve prompting ChatGPT for a short, clickable, AI-optimized title and the top 5 current trending tags. Don't just guess what title works best. Tell ChatGPT your exact plot and ask for it. Then always ensure you actually go into your YouTube Studio settings and select the correct category like entertainment or film and animation, rather than leaving it on a default setting that totally confuses the algorithm.
And here's a phenomenal algorithmic trick for some extra reach. The audio hack. Add a #1 trending track from the YouTube global chart directly in the app, but drop its volume way down to like 2 or 3%. It shouldn't overpower your actual video audio at all. The algorithm associates your upload with the massive traffic of that trending song, which boosts your reach, but because the volume is essentially muted, your viewers only hear your meticulously crafted voiceover and sound effects. It's brilliant.
Also, if you're running a Grandier channel, you absolutely must hide your video likes initially. Otherwise, viewers might just immediately swipe away when they see low engagement. It's just basic human psychology, right? If someone sees a video with only 2 likes, they automatically assume it's low quality and scroll past. By hiding the likes, you force them to judge the video purely on the quality of that critical 3-second compositional hook we talked about earlier.
So we've covered everything from mirror neurons to algorithm manipulation. You now know how to intercept a swipe, how to leverage free AI tools to generate stunning visuals, and how to optimize your upload to push your content. The tools for massive reach are completely democratized right now, which leaves us with one final exciting question for you to ponder. With the science of attention, free AI tools, and algorithmic hacks now at your disposal, what viral story will you bring to life next? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I literally cannot wait to see what you create.